Welcome back. Joining us this morning is Dr. Sia, and we love him online. He's a medical doctor and content creator with a mission to raise awareness, to simplify and demystify sexual and reproductive health. Okay, it's a baseline human right.
Yeah.
With a global following of more than 3.5 million followers across his social media platforms, he has worked with some amazing organizations, doesn't get much bigger than the World Health Organization, and features in various publications, including the British Medical Journal and Huffington Post. So he's proven his chops and is here to chat to us this morning, to mansplain.
Yeah, good morning, Doc. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
It's good to see you. Good. It's good to see you in the flesh. Obviously, you're taking over the digital world. Obviously, you're talking about TikTok right now. But before we even get into that, let's just talk about this journey of yours. It's a big decision to want to help people. It's a big decision to take the endeavor on of becoming a doctor, going through all the years, which I don't think even stops when it comes to studying for you. It does not stop.
Be continuous, yeah.
Going through all of that to help people, that clearly has to be a passion and more. Why make that decision? What was the inspiration behind that? What got you into the space in the first place?
Medicine, you mean?
Yeah, medicine, doctor, helping people.
Again, I think since I was a teenager, I wanted to be a doctor. I want to have a passion to change people's life and to save life. That's the probably biggest reward you have in medicine. So that's how it started. And look at me now. Yeah.
Look where we are.
I love it, buddy. And look, your smile is all we need to know about how you feel about doing your work, which is amazing to me. And I think you've kind of grasped this notion. We just are who we are and we expand.
Yeah.
You don't have to sit in the doctor's lane. And I think in medicine, unfortunately, our lanes are often the downfall, because the more specialized we become, the less we see in other people's spaces.
True.
You've inverted that and got onto TikTok, become the first verified doctor on TikTok,
Yeah.
as I understand it, which is massive.
Well
Can we get
done.
a round of
Yeah,
applause?
well done. Let's-
Because this is it's a sign of the times. Why that platform, and how does it feel with this purpose-driven kind of vibe of wanting to reach people now, being able to reach that many patients at one time?
Actually, I started my TikTok during the pandemic, like majority of us. It was an
yeah.
escape from all the stresses. And I was making fun videos with my daughter, and I was receiving like 30 messages every day asking me about COVID. So I was like, instead of replying all these 30, I can just make a video and everybody can watch it. And that's how it started.
That's helping.
Helping people, yeah.
That's it.
Did it stick to that genre, or did you start sort of including more of a specific niche when it came to helping people? Or was it just generally what people wanted you were serving and kind of giving the content for that?
So the trending topic obviously was COVID-19, and then HIV is an epidemic in this country. I talk about HIV, and then I started busting medical myths.
Yeah.
Until I started talking about periods.
Yeah.
And it blew 30 million views. The next video was like 20 million views. Then I realized there's a lack of knowledge on periods, especially from men. So that's when I went to the sexual and reproductive health niche. And that's what I've been doing for the past 2 years, raising awareness on women's health.
And it's amazing. I've been blessed to have grown up in an all-female household, and so it was quite comfortable. A lot of well, not never comfortable, but it's become very comfortable the older I've gotten, because there was always this societal pressure pushing back against that ease and that kind of natural conversation that should be a baseline part of the human experience, because menstruation is a baseline part of the human experience. What shocked you the most when you went out there to chat to men on the streets? What blew your mind?
Yeah, so you've seen the video, I guess. It's, well, I wasn't that surprised because I've seen it online, but it's actually confirmed my suspicion, like basic anatomical questions that I guess 90% of the men didn't know, for example. They didn't know where the period come from, where the pee is coming from. So it's a very rewarding experience to like use this as an example and show people in like a fun way, so men can get educated on basics,
the most basic. In fact, can we have a little taste of this? Let's take a look at how this played out in real time.
Why pads have wings? To hold onto the butt cheeks. Why there are different sizes of tampons?
Different size of woman,
Why there are different sizes of tampons?
different size vaginas.
Why some pads have wings?
Wings.
Yeah.
Sure, that I don't know. I've never actually seen a pad with wings. Yeah. Easier to get off?
Because it goes like this, and then surely it's holding on to...
I lost you there.
We've done many boxes up and down that. I think it's got to the point where people see us coming on the promenade. They're like, oh, run.
I don't know.
Run. I mean, I was waiting for like the complex questions to blow people's minds, to be like, okay, we don't understand the full medical exchange. We are talking about the basics here, the absolute basics. So has this shifted the goalposts for you? Because I'm sure you're wanting to go out there and educate, empower, do something massive, and it feels like we're still playing with like little Lego blocks here. That's the level of understanding. We're not even...
Not really. They haven't shifted. I get questions. I have kissed my boyfriend. My period is delayed. Am I pregnant?
Okay.
So I get such basic questions.
Yeah.
So I'm sticking to the basics because there are many specialists who talk about all these complicated things when we still don't know the basics. Like periods, PMS. Just, she's that days of the month, that time of the month. They're moody, but there are explanation for this thing. There are real things. So that's why when I raise awareness of women's health for men, it's gonna increase their empathy, their support. When you're a father, you're gonna be more supportive of your daughter.
Yeah.
Oh, completely.
So, yeah.
It's going to improve the quality of life of everybody in the ecosystem. And when we talk about powerful chemical reactions happening within the body, these are some of the most powerful reactions in science that we know of when we talk about menstruation and the birth process, the creation of life within a human body. It's one of the biggest, most amazing scientific things that happens in our universe. Okay, so you need to kind of wrap your head around the fact that we do need to talk about this probably every day. Now, there are some approaches to exercising that you might want to shift and change to bring a little bit of relief if it is your choice today. And we're going to put Zoe through our paces because she's just ready to take one for the team today. We love you, Zoe.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
We are back with Dr. Sia, is what he is called on TikTok. Go and check him out, DM him. He will answer all of your strange medical questions. Well, he might. No, but he's here today to educate us men on menstruation. Doc, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for making reproductive health and women's health a main focus for your work, but I think thank you for spreading the word with us. So let's get to the nitty-gritty here. 28-day menstrual cycle. How does that work? What's happening within a woman's body during this period?
Okay, so let's start. 28 days is a typical menstrual cycle.
Typical cycle,
It
okay.
could be from 21 to 35.
Okay.
So, but we're gonna stick to 28 for today. So the period starts on day 1. That's when the bleeding starts. And usually lasts from 2 to 5 days. It could be a little bit longer. And that happens because there was no fertilized egg that implanted the uterus. Basically, there was no pregnancy. So that's the shedding of the uterine lining. Okay. So the inside of the uterus, it thickens to prepare for a pregnancy, and if there is no fertilized egg, it breaks down, and that's why you bleed.
Then the body releases that. Okay.
Yes, the body releases that. That's from day 1 to 5. The important thing is that day 14, which is ovulation, happen, and that's when the egg is released, and it survives about 12 to 12 to 24 hours.
Okay.
For it to be fertilized by the sperm. If it doesn't happen, that's why we still would tell usually patients, if you want to fall pregnant, you should have intercourse day 14, 2 days before and 2 days after.
Because that's when it's
during that
ready to
optimal
be-
window.
Okay,
Yes,
all right.
and the sperm can survive up to 5 days. So that's the optimal time. If the egg doesn't get fertilized in day 14, that's when the hormones stop dropping, and then when also women start experiencing PMS, premenstrual syndrome, which happens a week or 2 weeks before the bleeding again, which starts as an emotional symptom, physical symptom like bloating, cramps, anxiety, mood swings, and the list goes on.
I'd just like to add there, any one of those conditions, if you had to experience it yourself, would be a game changer. Having all of that happen at the same time, and then kind of with the added bonus of no one really caring or understanding or mitigating those. So I would imagine it kind of places half of the population at a disadvantage over that period, not because of what they're going through, but because of the lack of systemic support for what they're going through.
Definitely.
Yeah. And maybe that's something I want to touch on right now, because there's so many myths involved in menstruation itself, right? Maybe this is something I think that a lot of gents don't really understand is, what is the woman going through in this period? What should we be acknowledging, and what should we not be just dismissing as, it's a period, I'll come back to you later.
It's
you know what
natural.
I mean? It's like that.
It's natural, man. It's just, yeah.
I think maybe this is that important time for us to actually get educated and understand what is the woman really going through. How do you describe the emotion that's changing, the pain that they're enduring, the fact that they're losing so much fluid as well? How is this really affecting them, and what should we be more sensitive about in the situation?
Okay, so periods, generally you have discomfort,
Yeah.
but it can be much more painful. There are women who have severe pains that they are basically paralyzed. They cannot even do their daily activities, which I always generally advise to see a doctor if it's that severe. But you are right. Men need to understand these things so they can be empathetic.
Yeah.
They can be supportive. I saw one of the interviews on TikTok when they asked the men what is period, and he was like, that's that time of the month when they are moody. You know, like that's very dismissive.
Nailed it.
Wow.
man.
And his girlfriend quietly just drifted away into the ether after that.
So yeah, so this PMS is very important part of the symptom. Not all women obviously experience it, but there are lots of emotional and physical symptoms, which I actually encourage men to spend 5 minutes just reading about periods. There are so many web pages that they explain periods in the simple terms. And once you understand, you'll be more empathetic, you'll be more supportive. It's going to help your relationship. It's going to help your relationship with your daughter, with your partner. You'll be more supportive. And how do you call it? Brownie points or whatever you're going to get. So
No, it doesn't work like that, man. You don't score points. There is no credit within a relationship. I've realized this. There is no credit. No, it just means everyone is going to be moving forward. I would recommend, because you talk about communication, and when it comes to a relationship, being able to connect with your partner around issues like this, it goes both ways. It means you can both talk to each other about your lived experience in the now. I would just recommend, gents, if you have ever experienced something like a spastic colon and how debilitating something like that can be. That's just one of the symptoms that experiences within this entirety, and there is so much going on. So I've got to say thank you so much, Doctor, for being who you are online in that space, and long may you reign. I have a feeling you're going to be a force to be reckoned with, but thank you for mansplaining just a little bit for us to understand more about something that is so natural and so part of our everyday life that we really need to have this conversation every day. Doc, we love you, man. Thank you.
We'll see you online for more help and assistance. So thank you for serving. And for you, Mzansi, I hope you enjoyed this conversation. It doesn't stop here. We are diving into the world of sanitary pads. We're talking about period poverty. On top of that, also celebrating some of our health workers in the industry. Also, again, this conversation is one of many that is not only happening in Women's Month right now, but it's something that needs to happen throughout the year. This should be the norm. Gents, step up. Let's get involved.